Hello, fellow cave dwellers, and welcome to
Beyond the Cave.
I'm your host, Olivia Devine.
I'm Patrick.
Patrick, what are we going to be discussing today?
We are going to be talking about Challengers, a very spicy film. I think we can probably agree.
I don't know. Patrick and I just walked out of the theater, ran home from the theater to talk about Challengers starring Zendaya, Mike Faist, and Josh O'Connor. So today we're going to be giving you a little summary of the movie.
We're going to review it. We're going to say our thoughts.
We're gonna kiki
reviews,
about it. Yeah.
And then we'll finish with our rating out of 10.
Yeah, and we want to know everyone else's rating out of 10. So, Challengers is a movie. Stop me if I'm ever wrong or if you want to add something. It's a movie about three people in a very interesting relationship with one another.
Yeah, it's a weird love triangle. The triangle is sort of shown through tennis.
Oh.
But is it a movie about tennis or is it a movie about feelings and love?
I would actually say that it's not shown through tennis. Tennis is part of the relationship.
True. Tennis is almost the biggest part of the relationship to an extent.
So, like I said, it stars Zendaya, who plays Tashi Duncan, one of the main characters, and Mike Faist, who plays Patrick Zweig, and Josh O'Connor, who plays Art Donaldson.
It's a movie that jumps around. The opening kind of concept is that just two dudes are playing tennis against each other. And you don't really understand why there's tension in this match other than it's just a tennis match. But it's not even a big deal. It's like Home Joe's Tire Shop open. So you're not really sold that this is a big deal.
It's New Rochelle, New York.
That is not what the open is. It's a tire shop that's putting it on.
But there's also that really intense zoom in of Zendaya sitting in the stands, and everyone's face is doing like the Mario Kart, not Mario Kart, Wii Sports back and forth following the ball. But Tashi's face is not doing that.
She's just straight on.
She's
just looking into the void, I think.
No, she's looking at the announcer.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. She's looking into the void.
Okay, yeah.
I was just saying the announcer is really fun. Yeah. I want to meet him. So what are your initial thoughts? Because when I say we ran home, I mean that we walked as fast as our legs could take us, and we did not talk about the movie. We waited until right now, which was really difficult because to me, when the movie ends and that kick-ass song starts playing, all I wanted to do was scream and talk about it. That's I was so charged with energy that I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So what about you? What was your...
My initial take is that I think it does a really good job of telling the story in an out of chronological order. Because you get the end. The end of the movie is a tennis match. And the movie shows you throughout the whole thing why this tennis match is so important and why there are so much tension in it. And there's a lot of movies that jump around and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why is it doing this?
Personally, I do not enjoy movies that jump around.
Yeah, I struggle too because I don't really know what's going on. And this movie is like 8 years later, 3 years before that, 2 years ahead, 1 month later, 2 weeks before the big match, a day before. It's all over the place and it's so easy to follow. You get everything, and I don't know exactly why they did such a good job of that. I don't know what it is exactly.
I have this inkling that it was the hair. If you follow, Art and Patrick's hair changes a little bit. Their hair gets shorter, but Tashi's starts out really long when she's young, which is right before they go to college, or right before her and Art go to college, and then it's after her injury, she cuts it, I would say, like, shoulder length. And then when she's the oldest, she has it, like, chin length.
Yeah.
Which actually really helped me because they don't really... once they've established that we're going to be going back in time, sometimes it flips or it time jumps and it doesn't remind you.
Yeah. It's just like, okay, so this is, like, the first time they introduce a new thread or a new time and space, they tell you this is 8 years ago.
Yeah.
But then it's just, you have to know.
Yeah.
But it's not confusing.
No.
It's very...
Yeah. I also love that the beginning of it, like, the beginning of the movie, but also the main tennis match, it says 2019. I don't know if this is set in our timeline, but it's like, this is before the pandemic. All of this is happening before the pandemic.
I like that.
These people are sweaty and close and personal, and it's not pandemic times.
It's like shortly after Spider-Man Homecoming.
True. Also, need to preface, obviously this will have intense spoilers from here on out.
Every single thing we do. Yeah.
Every single thing we do will.
This is a post-movie review. You're here because you've watched the movie and you want some other.
You know what? I've seen it on the internet. People are like, how could you spoil that McDreamy in Grey's Anatomy died?
And
it's like.
A review this isn't really.
Yeah, but I've seen it and people get mad. And it's like, it's been 15 years, for the love of Pete's sake.
Right. So anyway. where should we dive into the beginning of the movie where I think they're kind of setting up the young side of them?
Yeah, I think we should go through the movie together. I think that we should talk about moments of impact for us and when it all changed or what changed our opinions and all that stuff. So it does start out with the main tennis match.
You've got that. And then there's this tennis match going on between these two guys, and then you jump back to them being friends in high school or so. They're young. They're around, it seems they're around 18 or so, maybe a little bit of a gap, but roughly they're definitely late teens.
Yeah. So, it starts with a tennis match and a really good song because the score is incredible. Should we talk about the score right now? I feel like we should just talk about the score.
They got some banging tracks.
Yeah, some banging tracks. Check out the soundtrack. But it has that kick-ass opening song. I think it's just called Challengers, but it ends with that alarm. And I will never forget that because it does that on Spotify, which reminds me that before we jump back to when they're almost in college, we do get that introduction of Tashi's already awake. Art's alarm is ringing at 5:30 a.m.
That's right.
And you can almost tell, so you know that they're together because they're sharing a room, they're sharing a bed. And she's kind of like, come on, let's go. You can tell that their relationship has dwindled a little bit. It's giving like we are work partners.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is funny sitting here as we just start our new podcast.
Ha 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 ha. That's all you're good for, podcasting.
That's basically their relationship, though. Yeah. You get a vibe of that. They show you that Tashi's knee has a big old scar on it. And from the trailers, you kind of know that she injures herself.
Yeah. It's given in the trailer.
So it's kind of already like, it's not a big spoiler. It's
it's established
point.
before.
Yeah. So they show you that they're together.
Yeah, and they're in the living room of their hotel room and they're only talking about tennis.
Yes.
It is the tennis is on the TV. She's writing about tennis. They have an ad coming out.
The daughter's like, "Hey, can we watch Spider-Man? Spider-Verse?"
Yeah. And Tashi's like, "Yeah, we're just talking about tennis." And the kid's like, "You're always talking about tennis, Mom." Yeah, we need like a 10-minute short of this kid in like 20 years being like, yeah, so I have 3 parents and one of them isn't in the picture a lot. I see Mom sneaking out sometimes and getting in his car. Anyway,
more of that to come soon.
So yeah, and then we jump back and we are you okay?
Yes.
Okay, we jump back. We jump back and yeah, like you said, it's they're kids.
Now
they're 18.
Kids. And they're like they're playing tennis and they're hot shots, they're young, and then they go to watch.
And they're having so much fun.
They're having a great time. You can feel that they're really good friends.
Yes.
They're buddies.
There is this brotherhood aspect to it until they win their doubles tournament, I think. And they tackle each other to the ground and kind of are on top of each other. Do you remember that?
When they win?
When they win the doubles. So this is at the very beginning when they're playing on the same side.
They play. And they have the crazy shot where he
does it between his legs
for the game point. Yeah.
And then they kind of tackle each other and like, I know that friends can do that, but you just get this.
Are they like on top of each other?
Yeah.
I kind of missed that.
You get this air like, I forget who's on top or bottom, but but whoever's on the bottom has like their legs up, kind of wrapped around the person on top. It's very much giving like we're a little more than friends.
That is a lot.
But also hindsight is 2020.
True. I didn't notice that at the
after
start.
Seeing the entire
buddies.
After seeing the entire movie, it's kind of like, well, obviously it was intimate.
Yeah.
So, anywho.
So they do that, and then they go to watch the girls' game, where they are introduced to the female protagonist, antagonist, female main character.
Is there a word for like both?
Yeah.
You keep talking.
So they see her play, and she is really good. She's like the upcoming star. She's going places. She's already got all these deals. She's with Adidas. So they watch her play. They're instantly enthralled with her. So they go to her party afterwards at this big old mansion, and they meet her.
They do.
They do meet her. They eventually manage to make it down, and they're just talking like kind of in a one-on-one sort of quiet environment, and they ultimately get her to come back to their hotel room.
So assuming that our listeners and viewers have seen this, what do you think of all of this? Like, what did you think of this section of the film?
Okay, at this point, I'm thinking these guys are, and I actually wrote this down, dinguses.
Dinguses!
They are so nerdy, and like they're so into her, but they're just so like cringy about it. Like they're just like watching her dance for longer than I felt comfortable with it. It's not like a glancing, oh, that girl's hot. It's like just staring for the entire verse and chorus.
They're transfixed.
They are transfixed.
Like she has a spell on them.
Yes.
And I think that she almost immediately catches on to that.
Yes.
That's, I think, super important. So I actually wrote down also how in sync these two actors are with each other. They're, I'm going to say this wrong. Synchronization is, I would argue, like some of the best acting in that way that I've ever seen. Like there was not a minute where I was like, oh yeah, they're not close. Like when Tashi is like, so how long have you guys known each other? And they're like, we're bunkmates since we were 12. I was like, yeah, these people in real life were also bunkmates since they were 12.
Yeah.
Their chemistry is impeccable. They move their heads at the same time. They lean back at the same time. They drop their bags at the same time. Yeah. They sit down at the same time. They are so in sync with each other and each other's bodies. It's an important layer, I think, to this situation.
I like that.
Yeah,
I think that's
important.
A good detail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when they're watching her for the first time, it's like they're the same person moving their head.
And then she wins, and they lean back, and they're like, oh wow.
Yeah. They kind of lean back on their elbows, like she leans back when they're making out.
So that's the next scene. They are talking down on the beach, and they're like, hey, this is our room. Why don't you come over?
She looked like a mermaid sitting on the rock. Oh, yeah, like she looked like a siren.
Some mermaid.
Like,
ooh.
Yeah, like an evil mermaid.
Siren. Yeah, that's a better term.
Yeah, she knew what was going on.
Yeah. So she heads back. They're sitting in their room, and it's like they're just kind of bumming around, and they're like, he's like, she's not gonna come, and then she knocks on the door, and they are so thrown off. It is probably one of the most funny scenes.
It's hilarious.
In the movie.
Like Art does this little like backflip off the bed because he's sitting with his legs up, and he's like, "Meow."
Yeah, they're like basically naked. They're both just in their boxers, and they're like rushing to get clothes on.
And she's like listening, and I think it's funny because that just brings me back to like dorm room days where I feel like people would knock on your door, and you'd be like, no, 1 second. Like even if it was your friend,
totally.
it was
just so flustered.
Yeah.
And they open the door, and they are still shocked that she is standing before them. They're like, oh, it's not a pizza or like a noise complaint or something.
It's not more beer.
Yeah, they are shocked.
Yeah, shocked.
And so then they
So
start
what do you
drinking.
think of... Yeah, they start drinking. They start getting
games.
into things. They're not even playing... Well, actually, Tashi is...
She starts diving into
I feel like
this.
she's puppeteering. You can see the clock. She knocks on that door at 12:12, and it is 12:30 when they start kissing.
Whoa.
She does her shit so fast.
Damn, I did not notice that detail.
Yeah, because I always think it's interesting when clocks, especially digital clocks, because they're just so much easier to read, are in movies. Because I'm like, why is this clock there? You know, there are no accidents. And anyway, she does it so quick. So, like, I think this is the first point in the movie where we see, I mean, obviously the two guys have differences, but this is a big part of the movie where we see even bigger differences between the two of them. So it starts a little bit at the beach part or the party that they're at, but it almost feels like Patrick is starting to show that he's just more of a comfortable person with himself and a little more confident.
Yes.
Yeah, whether that be big ego or like I don't know.
But he's more okay with himself. And I think what you're getting to is she asks them if they've ever, they're talking about boyfriends and girlfriends, and then she asks if they've ever done anything sexual together.
Yeah.
And he is fine to say that they basically masturbated next to each other before when they were young, when they were like 12.
And Art was so like,
he's like, shut this down. Yeah. Absolutely not.
He's like this will get us.
He is balling up into this little, he's like really embarrassed about it.
I was really looking at their facial expressions because Mike Faist, the guy who plays Patrick, has that little like side smile thing he does. He does that little side smile. I just think that there was a lot in the face, and it's hard to explain, but he almost looked hurt in that conversation. Like Art was so quick to be like, nope, nothing has ever happened. And if you look at Patrick's face, not this Patrick, but movie Patrick, he looks a different form of uncomfortable. I don't know. To me, I would love to hear what people think about this, because to me in this scene, he looks a little taken aback, hurt, not confused, but I can tell that he's feeling some type of way. Yeah. That Art is just like, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's embarrassment, but there is a bit of a negative reaction to Art's reaction about denying it.
Yeah. It's almost as if Patrick feels that there's something there, and this is almost the first time he's hearing Art say out loud, no, there's not something there, in a romantic sense.
That is a nice observation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Real life Patrick. That's so kind. So then they make out.
They do make out. And I gotta say, this is a great scene. However, the trailers deceived me into thinking that they would have a threesome.
Well, I think that was the point.
Yes. Well, I am deeply disappointed.
I would argue the entire movie is a threesome.
I agree.
Yep. Through tennis.
But I still think that there should have been a threesome.
Yeah, well, this is actually part of my final ranking, so we'll get there.
Okay.
However, it was so hot.
It was pretty spicy.
It was hot.
And that's why I wish there was a threesome.
I'm like,
dang, okay, I'm seeing this play out. Let's take it. And then she just kind of, eventually they're making out, and the guys just start making out, and she just kind of leans back and is watching it.
I think it's incredible.
And it's a great scene because I think it is showing, again, her ability to just puppeteer them and control them.
Yeah. Her decision to just leave ties in and like when she says, whoever wins tomorrow. Because I just want to watch some good, I just want to watch some good fucking tennis.
Yeah.
When the movie ended, that it was such a callback to that moment.
Yes, and we'll get to there.
Yeah, she just wants tennis.
Yeah, and there's another scene. There's another thing she says before they start making out, that she's talking about her match that they watched, and she's saying how tennis is almost an expression of love. And she's saying that when you're really in a serious volley, back and forth, rally, you know each other to the absolute fullest, and you're basically connected with that other person, and that's really important for the final scene as well.
Oh my God, I think
we'll get there in a bit.
I wrote something down to talk about that at the end. I cannot wait to talk about the ending.
Okay.
Like, I think the rest of the movie is so important, but
so this is
I'm thinking about the ending.
Yeah, this is like the big setup. I feel like they do a really good job, and the fact that there is no threesome, it does makes sense for the movie.
It does,
because it's her power play, and so she manipulates them and then leaves. And if they
genius,
it makes sense.
Yeah.
But I hate movie trailers so much.
Oh my gosh, give it up. Give it up. Okay, continuing. Patrick Zweig wins the game and gets her number. We don't actually see him winning the game. We just know because then they're dating.
They're dating, and then they go to the two, Art and Tashi go to Stanford, and then Patrick
just keeps playing tennis.
He just keeps playing tennis and goes pro.
Yeah, well, he's trying to go pro.
Right.
Which there is a couple time jumps in between where, Tashi is in, like, she signs Art up for that New Rochelle Challenger, and she sees
forward when they're together.
Yeah, and like we know that they're together. They have a daughter, Lily. Tashi's mom is super helpful. I thought she was the nanny, but she's Tashi's mom. So what a slay!
Really kind mom.
Yeah, just really kind mom.
Family together.
Oh gosh, she knows nothing. Actually, she probably knows everything. Yeah. But yes, there's a couple time jumps, and we also learn that Tashi. We don't learn, but now we know that they all know that each other is in New Rochelle and that Patrick is struggling with money.
Okay, and so New Rochelle is where the
tire challenger
the 2019 match that the movie is all premised around.
Yeah.
So they all learn that they're together.
They all learn that they're in the same place.
So it jumps back like a week before the match starts.
Yes, and we see that Patrick is poor, which in my opinion makes no sense because he comes from a family with a butt ton of money. So it's like, dude, put your pride aside. Ask your parents for like $1 million. I don't know. I don't know how money works in families.
He's literally like going on dates with girls so that he can have a place to sleep.
Yeah, and it's like, bro, your parents are rich. Like, I don't know. Anyway, whatever.
Maybe they cut him off. We don't know.
Maybe they cut him off.
We don't know. But anyway, he has no money.
Idea. Yeah, he has no money, blah, blah, blah. Probably the most boring part, in my opinion. Not that it's boring. I'm just like, let's go back. So now they're at Stanford.
Yeah, and so the big scene here, I think, well, first of all, Art is basically...
Oh, wait. We also learn that Art is losing a lot, and he's struggling with his confidence.
Okay.
Anyway, back to Stanford.
Yeah, so in Stanford,
Stratford. Nope, Stanford.
It's Stanford. I'm sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought there.
I'm so sorry. There was so many time jumps, and I want the people to know that we know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so in Stanford, basically what we've got going on is Art is talking with Tashi, and he's basically like, yo, you sure you love him? Like, he's kind of like playing at the strings, like, he doesn't love you. Mm-hmm. What do you want? It's not a real relationship. You deserve someone that will love you fully. And then Art and Patrick immediately meet up after, and they're all buddy-buddy. They haven't seen each other in a while because Patrick's been on tour, and Patrick, what I love about it is he actually is just like, dude, you're like trying to break us up. Like he just sees it so clearly because Art starts saying the same stuff to Patrick about Tashi. So there's a bit of playing here. Then we've got our Patrick and Tashi.
Oh, we got to pause.
Okay.
We got to pause.
Okay.
We cannot gloss over that stool pulling with the foot.
Oh, okay.
Or the churro eating.
That was obviously intentional.
That was so sexy. I can't believe you think there was no sex in this movie. That was the smoothest. They get so close to each other.
Now, who pulls the chair? I think it's Patrick.
Patrick pulls the chair. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He does. And I think that's awesome. This is also the first point in the movie where I'm like, Art is a dick.
Yeah, this is the point in the movie. You kind of know that future Patrick sucks, but this is where you realize that past Art also sucks.
Yeah.
He is being a terrible friend.
Awful friend.
An absolute piece of garbage.
Very
trying
selfish.
To break up your best friends with her girlfriend because you want
because
Dude,
you also want
come
her.
on. That is so not okay.
Sounds like bro code. Broken.
So the next scene's really important because Patrick and Tashi are being sexual. They're not having sex, but I feel like you want to talk about this scene.
How do you know that?
Yeah, go ahead.
How did you know? I actually want to talk about every single scene. I wish that I could play it and then pause it and then talk about it. Notebook, please, monsieur.
Alrighty. So they're in their dorm room. They're breaking it down. They're getting sexy.
They're breaking it down.
Yeah. Oh,
they're also having a big fight. But before the fight really happens, when they're breaking it down, as you would say, they're basically their dirty talk is talking about art.
Yeah, and it's like, he's better at you than tennis.
Yeah, like I would say like the heaviest moment in that intimate scene is when like Patrick is basically like, oh yeah, tell me about art. And Tashi's like, he's smart, he's good looking, and her hands down his pants, and she's like, he's better at you than tennis. And they're like,
he's really making improvements on his swing.
Yeah, basically.
He's raised his mile per hour on a serve by 5.
You now. Yeah, and he's
yeah.
like moaning more and more, and I'm like, okay, here, let's just, the director needs to call in Art Donaldson, please. Like, this is what we want. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say. And I also wanted to say that, you really get this sense that obviously Tashi is very obsessed with tennis in a way that she is in love with tennis.
In that scene, she says, it's always about tennis.
It's always, because he asks, can we not talk about tennis?
And that's, as soon as that happens, she's like, we're not having sex anymore.
Yeah, she gets off him and she's like, I got to get ready for my match.
Yeah.
And it's like, you have, like, tennis turns you on. Is there a word for that? Tennophobia.
And
no, that's
scared.
That's
I think
a fear.
all of this right here sets up the stage. Tashi loves tennis. Patrick loves art. And
Art loves Tashi.
Yeah.
Like, he's trying to break them up. Tashi is saying, like, oh, isn't Art hot? And Patrick's like, ugh. And
poor Patrick, no one.
Oh yeah,
it's a love triangle, but it's not like.
But tennis.
It's
is
really
included.
a love square with tennis.
It's not a jazz square. It's a love square.
So anyway, she breaks her leg, or she pulls her ACL. Probably not. She hurts her knee, and she can.
We are clearly so athletic and full of sport.
Yeah,
she hurts her knee. That's what we're gonna say.
Well, that's what the movie says. Because I mean, like an ACL pull, like people bounce back from that stuff.
She bamboozled her knee.
She did bad stuff to her knee, and she's no longer going to be a tennis star.
Ooh, I wanted to say. Never mind.
Who is there for her? But Art. Patrick was mad at her. He didn't show up to the game when she hurt herself.
He took her shirt. I told you.
Yep.
And
there's a shirt that's just like in everything. Like,
because he's a shirt stealer.
Yeah. So anyway, this whole her being vulnerable and being really unhappy and losing like the only thing in her life. It's with Art. And that's kind of what we assume is kind of leads them to get together. Because we don't really see them.
No, like they have that one practice scene and he gives her a hug, but she goes and sits against that tree and it's really sad.
Yeah.
It's kind of the moment that, in my opinion, Tashi knows that this is over for her.
Yes.
She can no longer play tennis, but she leans against the tree in defeat, but then she leans forward really quick and she's like, I'm getting up. And to me, that's her saying, like, if I can't play tennis, I will play tennis through others' art.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I feel like I don't exactly know how this bounces around, but the next scene that comes to my mind is like a few years later when Art says
Applebee's.
They're at Applebee's. Also, so much branding in this movie. You got like Applebee's, you got Dunkin' Donuts, Adidas.
Uniqlo? Is that how you say it?
I'm not sure what that is.
It's UNIQLO.
That does not do anything for me.
There's like a giant store of it in Japan, I want to say.
Okay.
I feel like it's it like established somewhere in Asia.
Yeah.
I want to say.
Okay.
That
Coca-Cola. I saw Athletic Greens. Maybe a potential future sponsor.
No, we're shutting this down. We're shutting it down. We're shutting it down. Okay, they're at Applebee's.
So they're at Applebee's. He says, "Yo, I want you to be my coach," and they end up kissing.
Oh, but you missed a quote. She asks, "Say it."
Are you sure?
No, do you still love me?
Yeah, do you still love me?
And he says, "How could anyone not?" And I think that's so romantic.
It is a very romantic moment.
I think it's really
movie.
cute.
And she doesn't even care because she just wants tennis.
Yeah, she's just like, okay. And Josh O'Connor, who plays Art, does such a good job. I don't know, their faces are so good. Like, you can see the longing in this man's face. He loves her so deeply. Oh my gosh, they do such a good job. I can't get over it. I cannot get over it.
So where do we go from here? There's a lot in this movie.
There's like...
There's a lot of bouncing back and forth. I feel like this is a lot of what's established, though.
Yeah, this is like... That was all really important stuff to establish. Because now they're together, Art and Tashi. Patrick is, bucking off, playing tennis somewhere else, trying to make money. His parents probably cut him off.
There's a scene where it jumps to just before the big match in 2019, and Patrick goes to Tashi and says, "I want you to be my coach."
Oh.
And this is something. I mean, she throws daggers the entire movie, but I think her best quote in this whole movie is she goes, "You're 31. The only thing you can catch is a bullet in your your mouth."
Yeah, it's like you would have a better chance with a shotgun in your mouth.
Yeah.
Like
she does not
care. Man, Patrick Zweig must have so much confidence, because if someone said that to me and they look like Tashi and or were Zendaya, you would never see me again.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. So I feel like we've kind of broken it all down. Should we just kind of get towards like the end of the movie? Are there any more important details? Because it all starts kind of coming together. There is
one scene I really want to talk about.
Yeah.
Also including that, like, amongst this, throughout Tashi and Art's relationship, she sleeps with Patrick twice. I think.
Twice.
Like once.
I think so.
Once like near the end.
There's Atlanta.
Yes, Atlanta.
So that's, I think
at like
that's
3 a.m.
That's like 8 years before, or maybe no, it's
3 years before.
3 years before the 2019 match.
And that's brought up in the sauna, which is the scene I wanted to talk about next.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Because I think this scene is extremely important for where Art and Patrick are.
Okay. So
help set up for the final.
Okay. So just to set the context, it's 3 years before this 2019 main match of the movie. It's in Atlanta, and they sleep together, Patrick and Tashi, and then they go, and then Art and Patrick are in the sauna the day after that happens.
No, the sauna is the day before they play each other in 2019.
Oh, the sauna is before they play each other?
Yep. It's right before they play each other.
I thought that was in Georgia.
Yeah,
okay.
Because, so the reason we're shown this as viewers is because Patrick says something like, "You just can't get over that she'd be into a guy like me." And Art goes, "Yeah, when we were teenagers." Yes. And Patrick goes, "Huh, yeah, teenagers." And he gives his little smirk.
Yes. Yep.
And then the audience is given, "They were not teenagers when she was into him."
Yeah.
Not teenagers.
Not teenagers.
Yeah. Which is a darn shame, because the scene where Art is in bed with their daughter when Tashi comes back from having sex
with
Patrick
later
in the car. Yeah. Like midnight, like the night before the big game. Like, man, that broke me.
Oh, it was so sad.
Like, I think they're all pieces of shite, but I don't know. If I have to rank it, man, Art, I don't know. Something in me was like, man, he's in bed with Lily, their kid.
Yeah,
like, cut him some slack.
Being a good dad.
Yeah.
Loving his daughter.
God.
Yeah.
But
that's kind of like the peak, is like, as this match is really spicing up, you do get to see the scene where they sleep together.
Yeah. And she asks him to lose.
So
you're like, wow, there is about 900 layers of tension in this final match. And we are given them piece by piece by piece. But before we get to the very end, I do want to jump back to the sauna.
Oh, yes.
Because I think it's extremely important when their Art and Patrick are in a way having a showdown. Like it feels,
this is a lot of posturing in the
yes,
sauna.
and it almost feels like Art is kind of going after Patrick a little more than the other way around.
Totally.
You know, and
he roasts him.
He really does.
Eviscerates him.
And once again, you know, after they talk for a little while, Patrick has this quote where he just says, "I miss playing with you." And it's soul crushing. And it's almost like you can see the same, well, because it's the same guy. That's one thing I really liked about this movie. They didn't get different actors to play younger versions of them.
Yes.
We don't have to do that ever again. We don't have to do that ever again.
They were 18. They were 30. They all look the same.
They got their haircut. Perfect. Because guess what? 30-year-olds don't look that old. Anyway, you can see a similar hurt in his face than when they were in the hotel room. When, you know, Art, Art is just like jamming him with like well, I got the girl and I got the family and I win tennis.
Yeah.
And Patrick is just looking at him with honestly like love. And he's like, man, that's great and all, but I just miss playing with you.
Yeah.
And it hurts.
Feels real bad. This is a real feels bad movie.
But
movie,
the ending is so happy. The ending is beautiful.
It is somehow so happy. So how do we
brings that all together?
So how does this movie end?
I think before we get into the ending, we should talk about the sexuality of it all.
Okay.
You know, so can't really speak for Tashi, but the intimacy between Art and Patrick cannot be ignored. And there also is that scene where Patrick is in the changing room and he's on Tinder and there's a guy.
Oh, yeah.
Or what someone appears to look quite masculine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, Patrick's definitely bisexual.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's established from the start is, you know, whatever he is, maybe he's just a little whatever. It's clear from the start that he's very comfortable with himself. Yeah. And I think that's just the entire movie. As modern day, he's still just like, yeah, sure. It seems like there's mostly girls in his feed.
True.
But he's like, yeah, whatever, you know.
We'll pepper a man
whatever
in there.
Ball you throw at me, I'm going to swing that boy back. So, you know.
Beautiful. Yeah, because like when he's fighting with Tashi in the dorm room, you know, he's like, I'm not one of your, like I'm not a lap dog.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, that's such an important thing with this movie is the way, like, Art is just so
lapdog,
like pathetic. Yeah, honestly,
he's like, I'll do anything for you.
And I feel so bad for him because I'm like, man, like your marriage or you know your relationship is based around your tennis performance, and your wife is with you because she is living vicariously through your success in tennis.
It takes such a new, like, it's not my dream, Dad, it's yours. It's not my dream, wife, it's yours.
Literally.
Oh, that's so much pressure.
But she's always like, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. And it's said with such like, but no, you really can't.
I feel so awful when that stuff's going on. And then Patrick, on the other hand, there is a scene right before they sleep together, or a line where he says, I'm a piece of shit and I am fully aware of it and I know exactly who I am. And the reason you like me is because you are too, but I see you for who you are.
Yeah. And it's so, she is a huge piece of shit.
She sucks.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I don't like
And you know what?
her.
She's strong and she's awesome. And it's really sad to have a sport injury. Like,
totally.
Like thinking about like the psychology of it all.
Your
like,
whole life and career just kind of
just
falls
stop.
apart.
Just ends because your knee bone went the wrong way.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah. Sports are stupid.
Yeah.
Sports are dumb. Don't get into sports.
We both played sports before.
We did. But the whole, like...
Her monologue about, like, the romance and, like, you're speaking another language when you're on the court. I don't think... So I played competitive volleyball growing up. You already know that. Which is on a court. Mm-hmm. And you are... Like, I understood where she was coming from in the way that you are a different person when you're on that court, but you're still you. It's so hard to explain to you too, because you never saw me in my like playing days.
Sure.
And I wish you could have, because like I still can't believe that that's a part of me. Like I look back and I'm like, that's a different person. But it was me doing, like,
right.
I understand where she was coming from. Like you just have this relationship with the people on the other side of the court. And I'm sure it's augmented tenfold when it's just you on one side and just one person on the other side. And you're just staring at each other.
So confrontational and just, I'm going to destroy you.
Yeah.
And she's so intense.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. She would make me pee my pants. But yeah, so that scene, the wind scene when she gets in the car with Patrick, I thought was done spectacularly. I love it.
So windy out.
I have never
so chaotic.
Once in my life seen a windstorm where there was like paper and debris flying everywhere.
I know.
But perhaps that's like what New York looks like.
I know. I hated it. I was like, it's a big storm. There's just paper.
It felt
Where's
like,
all this paper
I know, how come none
from?
of it's hitting them in the face?
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
It felt
I guess that's,
and I loved every second
like,
of it.
Because there's chaos. Is that?
Yeah. Suspend your mother heckin' disbelief.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah, they bone.
Yeah, they do bone in the car, and she's like, you need to lose tomorrow. And he's like, me, sure.
Sure.
But then you don't know if they will.
You don't know.
It's just like,
and then.
Oh, and she's like, maybe I will coach you. Because he asks her.
He does.
Bump, bump, bump.
So then it's finally game day. The stage is set. Everything has happened.
Oh my gosh.
The batch has been going on, but now it's like the final tennis parts, because you know how tennis works. It's like,
man, I don't understand tennis. I played once and I was like, why are we saying the word love?
I think they just did that long ago so that poor people wouldn't play. They made it too confusing to like basically
that's why I stopped.
Yeah, that's just to like keep a bit of a barrier to entry, because you have to know what 15 plus 15 is and all that. And but then it's
Fair
love
enough.
at 0. And anyway, what's up with this final scene, Liv? Do you want to talk about it? Do you want me to break it down?
Oh my gosh, where do we even start? It's so wonderfully beautiful.
There's so much tension because you don't know.
It's so interesting because you're like, when is the kick-ass music going to start again?
He starts throwing. He starts like just hitting the net. And so you're thinking, okay, he's going to throw the match because it's basically tied up.
Yeah.
Ish, roughly.
I have no
idea.
He
keeps looking to Tashi, and
everyone's sweaty.
On the last one, you want to say this, don't you?
Oh my gosh.
What he does with the ball.
I feel like I just had such a wave of calmness wash over me because it was so genius, because there's a callback to the beginning where Art says, if you had sex with her, don't tell me. Do like a signal. Serve like normal. And Patrick's like, well, actually, you have a tick. You put the ball in the triangle. Oh, man, his idea to put the ball in the triangle, to tell him. It was, oh my gosh, okay. It was a spectacular callback to Tashi's monologue of saying that when you are playing tennis, you are speaking a language that only the two of you know.
Ooh.
And I think she caught on. Well, I mean, they started acting really different.
She realized something's up.
She realized that something shifted because they were speaking a language that only the two of them understood.
Ooh.
And I was like, well done. I think the director's name is Luca. I know it's something like that. Well done, Luca. Well done, writers. You genius people, because, you know, he did that and then Art just lets it fly by.
He's just shocked because he realizes, oh my God.
Pure shonk.
You guys slept together.
Yeah.
Again.
And, you know, Tashi's looking around like she's looking at them. She knows something is going on.
And now it's on.
So, you know, Art serves the ball at his face.
On his first serve, he just goes for the face.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you get 2 serves, so he's like, I'm just lob, you know, this one is
and
for
then there's
vengeance.
a tie break. So they take a break, they come back. And who serves the last one?
I think it's Art.
Well, we'll say that. When Art's getting ready to serve, they both smirk at each other.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It brings back the like, I miss playing with you. They just look like kids again. It's just like, oh my gosh, we're back. We're back. Before Tashi came in the picture, we are back, and
we're so back.
We are so back, and they have such a kick-ass rally.
And it is so intense, and they're getting closer and closer and closer, back and forth and back and forth. And then Patrick lobs it up. Art goes to smash it down.
That jump.
And he lets it go and just jumps into his arms.
And they hug. And Tashi screams, "Let's go."
Which
and like,
the last time she did it was her great rally.
Yeah.
The first time they watched her play.
Yeah. And they knew, they were like, she
same
screamed.
Thing.
And in my head, that's the same as like having an orgasm in my head.
Whoa.
When you compare like the eroticism and the screaming, because Art looks at her and he's like at the beach and he's like, "You screamed at the end. I've never heard something like that." It was very sexy. Like he says it with so much.
He loves,
Yeah, he's like,
yes.
You know, so when she screams at them in the end, I'm like, that's the threesome we've been waiting for this entire time.
Whoa.
Boom.
Nice. I love that.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
Pretend.
So they get each other.
Yeah.
She gets a good bout of tennis.
She finally gets good fucking tennis.
That's all she cares about.
That's all she cares about.
She says it twice in the movie.
She's been waiting for years.
So it is
She's
somehow...
been manipulating these guys for years.
It's a happy ending somehow.
It is.
It feels so bad the whole time.
And I love that we don't think about how if you jump over the net, you get penalty. There's none of that crap.
No, it just ends.
They're back together, and the song Compress, Repress starts, and it's cherry on top.
Because they've been repressing some things.
Oh, they did so good.
They've been compressing their
feels
feelings.
So good.
And then repressing them down.
In my head, in my canon, they all three of them lived happily ever after.
Okay.
With Lily.
All three of them with
All
Lily.
three of them.
I like that.
And the mom is okay with it. She's a cool mom.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So that's the movie. Before we get to our final review.
Any last words?
Okay, I will say again, banging soundtrack.
Oh my gosh. I love that times 10 was like Tashi's song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just some nice banging synthy electro like tech house kind of stuff.
It made the movie more fun.
Yeah.
Like, I get royally bored in movies that aren't action or like giant monsters fighting each other, such as Godzilla x Kong.
Yeah.
And I hate that I get bored. But man, that soundtrack kept me. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I want some more like EDM bangers.
Yeah.
And
it had the ballads when it needed.
It did, but I don't remember them.
I remember because they were like
3 songs.
It was like children's opera. Like,
that was so
the
weird.
Trumpet.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know.
I do have one more
let's hear it.
Response to a tweet that is about the movie.
Ooh.
I saw that the opening scene is Art sweating and Patrick, and they're like really sweaty. And I read this tweet that this one girl said, "Ew." And the tweeter was like, obviously she doesn't get it. And I just want to say that it made me laugh, but also it ignited the same feeling in me as seeing Zac Efron in High School Musical 3, because the opening scene is him looking up in the basketball game and just like profusely sweating. Oops. And he's so close to the camera, like Art and Patrick were. And I was like,
that's funny.
Wow, it's like Troy Bolton again. And it was a really fun big old timeline connection in my life.
I love that.
Put more close-ups of people sweating in movies.
All right, do you want to pull up?
But tastefully.
You want to pull those reviews up?
Oh, I sure do.
You've got a couple Letterboxd reviews for us?
In a moment.
Okay.
In a moment.
All right, you need a second. Well, in that case, I'm going to pull up.
I know that you have some reviews.
Personal review or two. Okay. I mean, everybody in New Rochelle must have been so confused by that match.
Yeah.
They'd be like, why is this so intense?
Yeah.
Why is this like crazy famous
person here?
Yeah.
Why are we all throwing rackets around? Why?
Ooh. The final scene where the camera follows the POV of the tennis ball bouncing rapidly between two players, then seamlessly transitions into an aerial view of the court.
That was lovely.
That was a great
I loved
shot.
that moment.
Also, you pointed this. Well, you were like, "Oh my god!" when it happened. But it's the shot of the two of them playing, and then Zendaya in the middle.
Oh, her head, like Tashi's head in the middle.
Yes,
I loved that because would anything ever look like that in real life? No. Are we watching a movie that's not real? Yes. Not everything has to be super real, and it felt like cinema.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Funny. This is kind of stuff we've already said, but funny how there's very little sex present here, and it's still perhaps the most horn dog movie I've ever seen.
Well, that's why it's such a horn dog movie.
Yeah.
We've been blue-balled.
Absolutely.
Which doesn't exist, by the way.
It's not real.
I have to put that out there.
Definitely taking the title of most horny movie of 2024. Nice to see Zendaya playing an adult for a change. Hope she does more roles like this moving forward.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I saw a really funny tweet that was talking about how, like, you mentioned it, that if you were a tennis player and you actually had legs like that, your knee would have snapped long ago. Yeah,
some annoying person was like, oh my gosh, no tennis player looks like Zendaya. And I was like, literally shut up, because I think Zendaya should be in every sports movie.
That's true. All right, let's hear some of these reviews you got.
All right. So these are the top ones, but some of them are really funny. The top letterboxed review from someone named Patrick is "May thy racket chip and shatter."
Oh my gosh.
Which I think is really funny.
Damn.
Sydney Rocket Ship says, "Hey, we saw you from across the tennis court and really dig your vibe. Do you want to engage in a biblical level throuple over multiple decades?"
Oh my god. Wow, that's good.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
That's good, man.
I love this app.
Dude,
oh my gosh.
People go hard on these.
Someone said that they posted a screenshot of the reviews of challengers, and they were like, "Man, I can't even get a solid review on here." And I'm reading these, I'm like, these are all really good reviews. The funnier the reviews are, better the movie was, in my opinion.
Yeah, anything that's Zendaya delivers a stunning performance in the new...
Yeah, and it's
man,
nobody needs to tell us that because it's Zendaya. Shut up. Anyway, the next one is from Vasily. Average day for Wii Sport players.
Oh my god.
Yep, great.
People go so hard.
Someone named Brian. Everything is sex, except sex, which is tennis.
Oh my god. Wow. Wow. These are so good. I wish we could be this clever.
Vivian Sherry said, "Do they need a fourth?"
Wow. No, tennis is the fourth.
Oh, true. Someone gave it... Oh, no, someone didn't. They just liked it and said, "This movie made me attracted to men." Which is, I feel like a lesbian made that review. Yeah,
that's exactly what I was imagining too.
Yeah.
Not a guy downplaying it, but a woman.
Oh, this one's funny. Doug said, "Sometimes a churro is just a churro. This is not one of those times." I loved that.
That churro bite, even just the way he bit it, it was so playful. It was just...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, because they're so perfect together.
Yeah.
I'll read a few more.
Okay.
Katniss, Gale, Peeta. If Gale and Peeta also wanted each other sometimes, which I think is funny. Hunger Games.
Wow, nice little that in there.
Yeah, hilarious. Broke up with my girlfriend the second the credits rolled. I can never be two twinks for her. That was Eddie Burback.
Eddie Burback.
That was Eddie Burback.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
We love that. Thank you, Eddie.
Oh my god.
You got anything else?
I want to do one more.
You want to hit us with one more?
Buddy said, "Came for tennis balls, left with blue balls." That one's for you, Patrick. That one's for you. Oh my gosh. I think that's it.
Alrighty. So we're going to wrap this up then with our final ratings out of 10. So this is a decimal system, okay? So you can drop a 1.
Oh, wait. There's one more.
Right. Let's hear it.
This is the last one. This person's name is Boner Chomper 46. So if you want my attention about some boring ass sport, just make it gay and add some cheating. It's like, you know what, Boner Chomper? I'll let you have that one. That one.
Boner Chomper.
Don't chomp boners though.
No.
Just flick them like Patrick did.
Oh, that was funny.
That was so funny.
That was funny.
Like, shut up, man.
Also very sexually playful.
Yeah.
You don't just smack your friend's boner.
You do not just slap anyone's boner.
No, you only do that with a boner you're comfortable around, I guess.
I did not know how you're going to finish.
I didn't know either. I didn't really know where
you
that
only
was
slap
coming
a boner if you're comfortable with it. Or if
Yeah.
you're a creep. Don't do it unless you're comfortable with
it. It wasn't creepy.
No. It was cute.
It was a cute boner slap.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. I think I should probably go first since I think you really like this movie.
How can you tell?
All right. I am going to give it a pretty high rating. Do you have your number in your head right now?
No.
Okay. Because I don't want to influence you.
Oh,
So
you
need
won't.
to- okay, cool. I'm going into the 8s. I think this was overall a really well done movie. It didn't I didn't leave but I really appreciate it.
Go to therapy.
No, 8 is good.
I know, but how did you not leave going,
fine.
ugh?
Okay,
It's because we were going, the whole time.
yeah, no, I did leave pretty impressed. And 8 is a very good
Fine,
score.
I'm so sorry.
This is a bell curve,
I'm
okay? 8 is
I don't
really
even know
good.
what that means, really.
So I'm going to give it an 8.3. That's where my brain's jumping. I think it is
Gorgeous.
a really well done movie. There's literally 3 people in this movie, and it's great.
Hey.
No, that's not a knock. That is it's impressive.
I need to give some really quick love to the gay couple who went into the hotel
Yeah.
and were like, that guy's cute. Also, this place looks nothing like the photos.
That was a great
They were
moment.
hilarious.
Yeah.
And the announcer who is in
True.
real life Zendaya's
True.
assistant.
True. That is like the 4th most prominent character in this movie.
He was very
the tennis announcer.
Slay. Okay. I actually think that people are less interested in knowing why you gave it an 8.3, but more so why you took off 1.7.
Again, it's a bell curve. So like a 10 would be the perfect movie ever created. And that it's just not that for me personally.
He keeps saying bell curve, like I know what that means.
Okay, so it's like it's
No, don't explain bell
yeah,
curve to me right
okay,
now.
okay.
Just say what lost the 1.7. I know exactly why.
I don't know. Is it that there was no threesome?
No.
No.
Yeah, don't take the words out of my mouth.
I don't know. That's just where I land. That's a great
fair
review.
enough.
It did well. It wasn't like the most exciting thing, but it was very fun. And I think it
Fine.
did a really well job. And it's not something that I think it's not the type of movie I'm naturally drawn to.
True.
It's not my genre.
I brought you to a genre you're not drawn to, and I sat you in seats that you don't usually sit in.
Yeah, the C was
And
good.
how was row C, Patrick?
C was good. C was good.
It is good. All right, are you done?
Yeah, I've been done. I dropped my 8.3. That's all I felt like
All right,
I needed to
he's
give.
just leaving the room. Oh, he's gone. I'm going to give this movie 9.5.
I figured. I respect it.
Uh-huh.
I see it.
I haven't been this surprised. So I think like subjectively, I love being surprised by a movie. I love when I go in and they give me something I am not expecting at all. I also love when the trailer doesn't give me everything.
Totally.
And the trailer does not give you everything, not even close. It doesn't even give you a taste of the soundtrack, which really pleasantly surprised me. I loved the soundtrack. I loved the acting. I thought it was so good. Truly, the reason the 0.5 is taken away is because they could have made out more. All
Okay.
3 of them.
All
They
3
didn't
of
even
them.
need to go all the way like this chum bucket wants. They just had to just kiss a little bit
Just
longer.
a little bit more kissing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like, I don't know. There was some moments where I was like, maybe the scene could have been like 5 seconds shorter. But I don't know. Then I thought about it more and I was like, actually, I don't think there was a moment in this movie where one piece of dialogue was not needed.
Yeah, I think it was pretty tight.
Yeah, like sometimes I watch movies and I'm like, why are we talking about this? Why are we saying this? This movie didn't feel like it had any of that.
No,
and
it was really well
yeah,
paced.
the
and
pacing
I
was
always
good.
appreciate that.
Yeah, movies around 2 hours are the best. This was 2:11.
Yeah.
So
It's good length.
I really liked it. Yeah, thank you everyone for listening.
Alrighty.
Really
Heck yeah.
appreciate it.
That's our first official episode.
Yeah,
an
this is
actual
the
movie
first
review.
official one, and I want to know what everyone else thinks.
Me too. I'm so curious to hear what
Very
other people
curious.
thought. This movie impressed me.
Yeah,
That's how I feel. I'm
Yeah.
really impressed by it.
I'm so impressed. And as for, I guess 2024 really just started, but it's going to be hard to beat this one, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like I've never seen a movie like this.
No, very, very original.
No.
So
Do
overall,
I watch a lot of like different movies? No. Also, are we qualified? No. But we are qualified to talk about stuff.
Alrighty. Well,
Yeah.
that was Challengers.
Oh, and also in the comments, let us know what you think. Let us know. Comment on one specific scene we talked about. Comment on about a scene that we did not talk about. Lay it all on us. Give it to us like Tashi would give it to Art or Patrick.
Nice.
And
Which is not well and not with love or care for that person.
I want it. I'll just pretend you're Zendaya.
Alrighty.
All right. Bye, everyone.